Welcome everyone. Thanks for being here. This is Intro to Animal Communication, and my name is Rosemary Kimball, or Bird Woman. I'm a professional certified animal communicator. I am also a death midwife or end-of-life doula. I'm also a psychic medium, a henna artist, a ceremonialist. So I do a number of things, and I came to all of these things, most of these things, through decades of ceremony. Work with different cultures and my own personal ceremonies as a young woman. I currently am a practitioner at Decatur Healing Arts Center, which is here in the neighborhood, if any of y'all are from here. And I host monthly ceremonies there that I put together. I also do metaphysical energy clearings there, and I also lead a monthly death cafe.
I'm sorry, what's the name of it again?
Decatur Healing Arts Center. And the death cafes happen at Peoplestown Coffee House every other month. And I have a private one that if you're on my list, you get invited to. So I have an email list here if anyone wants to fill it out later. You can also check out my website, which is visionsandreflections.com. What else about that? Okay, I think that's about that on that. So, has anyone ever heard of animal communication? Okay, so you have some idea what it is. Some people call us pet psychics. So basically, I'm going to tell you the definition. It's a nonverbal telepathic method for speaking with animals, also known as intuitive communication. So just like humans, animals have self-awareness. They have emotions and feelings. And as an animal communicator, that's something I can tap into. If there's one thing I can leave you with that is the most important key to doing this work, it's unconditional love. It's all about unconditional love. And some other things, but that is the key. So maybe you guys understand this already, but most people don't know that we are born with this ability. We're all born with the ability to do telepathy. We have psychic abilities. We can heal. We can do all of these things. This is our birthright that we are born with. Unfortunately, society conditions us to believe otherwise. If we were born into a shamanic culture or a native culture, we would be being taught very young that yes, you have this ability. And in fact, in many cultures, spirit possession actually happens. A lot of times, too, the people who have the mental illnesses, they're the ones that are carrying some of the big wisdom. And they're just diagnosed as something else, schizophrenic or whatever. Now, there are chemical imbalances with people where they are definitely experiencing some mental health disorders, but a lot of times we're misdiagnosed or misunderstood. And if we were only taught at an early age that we have these abilities and we're shown how to hone these skills, I think the world would be a much better place. What else about that? So, this is something we're born with, but oftentimes, most of the time, we lose it throughout life. I think as a young person, I had these abilities and I was doing things, but I just hadn't the guidance to show me how to hone the skills. It wasn't until I took a trip to South Africa for a wildlife volunteer job that I met my mentor, Winter Worthstrom, with Animal Talk Africa, who I was blessed enough to have a private lesson with, and she showed me immediately that I had this skill. And all I needed to do was learn this technique from her and practice, practice, practice. So like anything, it takes practice. It takes years and years for some people. I feel blessed because so many years of ceremony, I believe, really helped me with this, so I could step into it more quickly once I was introduced to animal communication. But for example, in taking the course, for myself, I need to trust and believe that what I'm doing is accurate and true. So with the certification course, you are supposed to turn in 25 case studies at the end. Well, I did 80 to make sure there were 25 that I was completely satisfied with and knew that I believed and trusted in myself that I am doing this right. So I've been doing it for several years now. And I'm gonna let you guys ask a lot of questions later, but there's a lot that I wanna cover for this session. So I'm just gonna keep going and get right to it. I don't wanna forget anything. So I think that many of you are in here or at this conference because you understand that we're a part of a great awakening. And you're here because you are ready to receive. You're ready to receive the knowledge and the wisdom that you forgot, that you were born with, but maybe society taught out of you. And so you may have a better understanding than the average person of what it takes to get there. You can be a really deeply spiritual person, but still not be able to tap into these abilities yet. So there's a lot of things that come with being able to get there and do that. And we're going to work on a couple of those things today. So part of it is letting go of some old patterns and belief systems. Part of it is letting go of some blocks that keep you from loving unconditionally. And a lot of it is just belief, really. Believing it's possible and that you can do it. So I used to think that people are born with psychic ability and they're really special people until I came into this and started going to psychic fairs and realizing how many other psychics there are who are like doing this professionally and how many people in the world actually really are psychic. So there was a belief system for me that even after I became an animal communicator had to change. So even though I'm at this place where I'm doing animal communication and psychic mediumships like daily, weekly, with people all over the world, I'm still changing my beliefs. I'm still being open to new ideas and new belief systems. And knowing that as we change and grow, our beliefs are going to change too. So I'm just asking you to just be open to that, to be open to new ideas and new beliefs, and that's what's going to get you there. So today is really just an introduction to animal communication. It's a guide to help you start to navigate these blocks and challenges that might be keeping you from being able to do this. A lot of you probably already talk with your animals at home. You know you can hear them, but you might be doubt yourself. So I would say don't doubt yourself. Trust yourself. That's the biggest part of it. Trusting your intuition. Learning to trust your intuition is huge. It's super important. It's the only way you're going to be able to do any of this work. So let me tell you some things that I do to help animals through animal communication. So I can help you and your animals by helping with healing from illness and trauma, by helping you to better understand your animal's needs, by helping you both find peace and living with each other and your families, by helping you create a deeper relationship with your animal companions, by helping with your animal's behavior and training issues, by offering guidance, grief, and coping after the passing of an animal companion, and numerous other things. So that's just to give you an idea of all the different ways animal communication can be of service. Let's see. So, a lot of times I do things in a ceremonial way. So, it's important when we're doing ceremonies or any kind of work like this that we put up some protection. And make sure I'm not forgetting this one story. Okay, I've got stories for y'all. So we're going to start. I'm going to do a little protection prayer. This is with a lioness, Ma Ra, who is a lion priestess. the Star Lion Goddess. So it's a peace prayer of protection. I am a sovereign being. I am protected and shielded by the light. I do not authorize any party not of the light to gain access beyond the force field of light. That silver shield of golden protection hereby holds sovereign and untouchable about my heart, my physical being, and my eternal soul. Sal, from love I have been born, in love I am. To love I shall return. Sal, Sal. Salem, Sumba, Sante, Oria, Santa Spiritus, Salem, Sal, Sal. Now, who remembers what I said at the beginning is the key to animal communication? Yes, very important. So let's start there. So let's talk about what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is love with no conditions. It's tapping into the universe and being in the now. From Native perspective, it's the full acknowledgement of everything being your relative. So I practice a Native American spirituality, the Lakota tradition, and we say Mitakuye or Yasin, which means we are all related, or all my relatives. So I believe, and I believe this since I was born, that every single living being is my relative. That black widow, that blade of grass, that rock, everything is my relative and should be treated with respect. Unconditional love is love without strings attached and love that you offer freely. It's not based on what anyone does for you in return. When you love them unconditionally, you want nothing from them in return. Nothing more than their happiness. With unconditional love, you put no judgments or expectations on another being. You don't say, I will love you only if you love me back. You love the person unconditionally, whether they love you back or not. And this is the same for animals. It might be easier to do with animals because perhaps it's easier for us to forgive them when they hurt us. But always remember, even though they're in animal form, they are so much like us. They have feelings, they have emotions, they can express themselves, they can get angry, they can lash out. They are very similar to us in these ways. So I want to share with you a story, an experience I had recently around unconditional love. So, like I was saying, I do a lot of wildlife volunteering around the world. I always wanted to help animals, and instead of becoming a vet or something, I just started doing wildlife rehab and rescue. I started actually here in Atlanta at a place called Aware when it first opened with the first director. And so I was in Thailand this winter, and something just called me to be there for elephants. And I went and I worked at 3 different rescue, well, one of them was a rescue organization, and 2 of them were research homestay programs with the Karen tribes. And so I was at the rescue center working with elephants. Now, rescue work, I can give you a whole nother monologue about what it is to be a wildlife volunteer. There's 2 ways to go about it. You can do rescue and rehab, where you're usually in a sanctuary caring for animals, cleaning up elephant poop all day, or cutting vegetables for the animals, or you can do a research situation, which I prefer now that I'm older. And where you're out in the field and you get to observe and you get to help the researchers, you get to sit camera tracks or track or just sit in the woods and watch for wildlife, which is truly amazing. So this one was a rescue center for elephants, but they had lots and lots of animals. And so one day myself and the volunteers were there, and we were cutting the vegetables, and we were in a place where there were about 5 elephants in enclosures around us, so there wasn't much space away from where the elephants, and they were maybe 30 yards from us, each in their enclosure. And all of a sudden, someone decided to set off some fireworks on the public lands nearby. And it was so loud, it was right there. And immediately it frightened one of the elephants very badly. And so she started trumpeting, and she started stampeding back and forth in her enclosure. And when she started doing that, the others started doing that. And it became a dangerous situation. And I knew this, so I was trying to convince the volunteers, you guys, this isn't safe. We really need to go to another area. The animals are really upset here. But it took a little bit, it took about 5 minutes after they finally all were very upset that I was able to convince them, and we had talked to our supervisors, that we needed to move. We need to get at least a few hundred yards from here. So we go, and we're in another area, a few hundred yards. We can still see the elephants, and they're all trumpeting now. There's like 5 of them, very upset. This isn't something that even the people who work there see very often. It's pretty rare. Usually there's not someone setting off fireworks in the public land nearby. And so we're over there, and they don't know what to do, and I say, you guys, I'm an animal communicator. What we need to do is we need to send unconditional love. And what kind of response did I get? They look at me like, you are crazy. Who is this woman? What are you talking about? So I just ignore them, and I sit down right where I am. I just sit down, and I go into my meditation, and I start doing what I know to do. I'm sending this unconditional love as strong as I can, and within 2 minutes, all of those elephants were completely calm again. If that's not a testament to unconditional love, then I don't know what is. But I was a believer before that, and that made me even more so of a believer. Of course, they're off in their own heads. They didn't even notice, oh, look, they're finally calm. They didn't equate it at all to what I had done, which I believe was my doing. So unconditional love is very, very powerful. Just remember that if you're in a situation. So what unconditional love is not? So with humans, unconditional love does not mean that we don't have boundaries and we don't stand up for ourselves. It means that we still love them even if they hurt us. But it's not an easy task, and it takes time to understand this. It doesn't mean always giving people what they want and always accepting what they do at the expense of your own needs. Does that make sense? So you can love unconditionally, but also still have boundaries and protect yourself and be safe, even with animals. So I heard it said recently that visualization is the key to the occult, and that makes absolute sense to me. So visualization is a super important part of this, because when we're doing telepathy, we are receiving information, which we might say is our imagination, but it's our intuition. We need our imagination to be able to read our intuition. So we're receiving thoughts, images, sounds, smells. Any one of the clairs can be happening to receive this information from the animals. So visualization is really important. I've had people tell me before that they don't know how to visualize. And I understand that, because when I first started, I really didn't know how to. So it takes some practice. Using your imagination takes practice. Learning to visualize takes practice. Let's see what else. As well as that, I've said that you need to learn to use your intuition, which is your imagination and somewhat of visualization. We also have spirit guides. I believe we all have spirit guides. We are being guided all of the time, if only we can pay attention and recognize those signs. We usually have many spirit guides. Everyone says, I have a spirit animal. Yes, you have a spirit animal, though we're not supposed to use that word anymore. So I say spirit guides. We're not supposed to use spirit animal anymore. But animal spirit guides, we have. And don't believe that you have just one. You have many of them. I can name several of mine, and I keep coming across more and more. And it happens just because of a situation where suddenly this animal has come to guide me. One of my major ones is the lion here. That's why we did the lion protection prayer. So, I'm going to tell you a story about when I met the white lions. The white lions are my big time spirit guides. So that first time I went to South Africa, I was actually on a wildlife project with monkeys. And I picked it up before I even did my session with my teacher. So I'll start with a mini story. I was very, very blessed because all I wanted to do, like one of my big dreams was to work with baby monkeys, infant monkeys. And so I get there and I get the opportunity to be in the nursery with the babies. So I'm bottle feeding them, we swaddle them in their blankets like little burritos to keep them comfy and warm. And it was just this magical experience. And then I was invited to be in the sleeping quarters with them that night. Or one of the nights, a couple of the nights actually. Because out of a few weeks I got to be in the nursery maybe 4 or 5 days. And so the first night I was there, one of the other volunteers, there was 2 of us, and she was like, I hope you get some sleep because they cry all night long. They'll just cry and cry and cry, and I really hope you get some sleep. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I hope so too. And so I'm laying there, and they're just crying and crying because they're orphans. They've lost their mom. You know, we're their moms now, and they need love. So I'm just laying there, and I just start sending them messages, talking to them telepathically and saying, you know, everything's okay. I'm so sorry you lost your mama, but we're here now, and we're taking care of you, and we're going to do our very best to love you and give you everything that you need, and just showing them like all the ways they're getting love and all of this wonderful food and treats and playtime, and just expressing to them that you're in a safe place now. You don't have to worry anymore. Everything's going to be fine. And I just lay and I just start sending love and love and love and love. And within about 10 or 15 minutes, everyone gets really quiet and sleep for the rest of the night. And the next day, the other volunteer was like, wow, that was wild. The babies weren't crying anymore. And I was like, oh yeah, I was trying to help them and send them a lot of love. You know, same response. Whatever. Well, I did it the next night too, and I think she started to see something's up here. Yeah, I think there might be some truth to this, but she wouldn't admit it. So we slept very peacefully with little baby monkeys that were having sweet dreams, hopefully. So that's the pre-story to the white lion story. So I was also reading a book. A friend of mine, the same friend who told me about the animal communicator, told me about this book. You need to read this book. You're going to Africa. So I'm reading this book called Mystery of the White Lions, Children of the Sun God. Something like that, by Linda Tucker. And one day I come back to my quarters. The quarters, it was like a tiny house, like smaller than a tiny house. It can have 2 beds in it. It's got 2 windows. We close all the windows and doors when we leave, otherwise the wild monkeys will come in and steal all your stuff. So I've been reading this book, and I'm remembering I had these white cats growing up, and there's some sort of connection with them and these white lions. I haven't met the white lions yet, and I'm just I go out for the afternoon, everything's closed up, I come back in, and the smell of cat urine is so strong inside of there, like so strong. There's no cats around. There was no way for a cat to get in there. So I knew already, they're already talking to me. They're already sending me messages that we're somehow connected. Well, then I'm contacting Linda Tucker and just saying, I really want to come visit the White Lions. They're only 2 hours from where I am in all of South Africa. I really want to come see them. Well, I don't know, I don't have any space for you. I'm leading a workshop and everything's full. So I keep on like, are you sure there's not anything? Well, we do have this one big house that if you want to pay for the cost to feed the lions for 3 days, you could stay in this house, but you'll be all alone. There'll be nobody there. I'll take it. I'm there. So I get to go and be there. And so because I'm alone, I'm actually, my guide is the protector of the White Lions. And so every day we go out on lion patrol, where we just go out into their area to check and make sure they're safe. So these, I forgot to mention, are the only wild white lions left in the world. There's 13 of them. If there's others out there, we don't know about them. They're white, so easily poachable, right? So unfortunately they have a big area of land, many, many acres, but they still have to be in electric fence because otherwise poachers can come. And that's why there's a lion protector who goes out each day to check on everyone and make sure they're all safe. They've all got collars on, or they're tagged. I don't think they all have collars on. Yeah, they're tagged. But they're still living a wild life. They do have to have some food brought into them because they don't have the entire, savanna. And so when we go out in the mornings, he has this huge radar that he puts on the front windshield so that when we enter the gate, we can see if the lions are anywhere nearby, because obviously we can't go in there even in the truck if the animals are somewhere close by, because they could eat us. So we get inside. This is my second day seeing them. The first day I saw them, he just pulled right up to him, and the lion probably was all laying there, and I just started sobbing because they're the most beautiful beings you'll ever see in your life. And so this time we're going through lion patrol. We're in the truck, and he stops because here's the lion pride laying over here. And we're just looking at them, and they're just so beautiful. Now, even though there's white lions, they also have the tawny gene, so tawny lions can be born of white lions. So they still have the white lion gene, which by the way is not a mutation. It's an actual gene. They're not a mutated version of lions. And so we're sitting there in the truck watching these lions, and one of the smaller lions starts to walk over. And Sibusima, my guide, says, roll up your window very slowly and lock the door. And so I do that, and this lion comes over to my door, and he reaches his paw up and pulls the handle. He tries to open the door. And my guide is like, well, that's never happened before. And so then the lion just sits there and proceeds to look at me, and we just stare into each other's eyes for like 15 minutes. Like, I know this is my brother, like this is my relative, and we are connected in some very ancient way. And we just receive each other's love. And he shares a lot with me that I can't even put into words. So I knew from that day that this is one of my spirit guides. And so this is why this picture is here. It's one of the tawnies. It kind of looks like a white lion. Well, actually it is a white lion, but the way they did the graphic, it looks like a tawny. And so we are going to do a little visualization today with the white lions. And the reason we're doing this, again, is to practice visualization, but also because this exercise is going to help you remove some blocks, hopefully, if you're open to it. And it's going to offer you a gift that you could receive to help with this work. So, is everyone ready? Now remember, we all have lots of different spirit animal guides, animal spirit guides, spirit animal guides. That's the way I'm trying to say it. So, any type of lion might come to you. this was shared to me by my mentor. So I'd like you to take a deep breath in and slowly breathe out. Feel yourself relaxing completely. Any tension you're holding in your body is released. Feel yourself warm and comfortable, surrounded by a protective light. And now bring your focus down into your heart. From this heart space, you find yourself in a place that is safe and beautiful. It's a place that you go to be still and to rest. It is a quiet and peaceful place full of the warmth and love of Mother Nature. Now, once your mind is still and your heart is open, I want you to start becoming aware of your surroundings in this special place. Become aware of who is with you. Standing in front of you is your lion guide. He or she may come to you in different forms. A cub or lioness, a male lion, even a mythical griffin or winged lion. You see him or her before you and acknowledge them, sending a feeling of deep, unconditional love. And thank your guide for being with you. Your lion guide now asks you to follow them. They turn and start moving forward on a path. You follow quietly and respectfully. And as you move, you start feeling open to everything that is available to you in order to help you fulfill your life's purpose. Anything that is blocking you from moving forward falls away. And the path before you becomes clear and straight. If there's something that's stopping you in your path and doesn't fall away, ask your lion guide to help you clear it. Look at what is blocking you. What does it look like? What is the feeling around it? Where does it come from? And ask yourself what purpose this blockage is serving. Once you recognize this, thank the blockage for being there and know that you are now able to move past it. With the help and strength of your lion guide beside you, push past it. See the blockage disintegrating because you no longer need it to be there. carry on, moving along the pathway, following your guide, feeling safe and sure, full of pure intention and light. The pathway starts opening up and you reach a beautiful clearing. In the center of the clearing, there is a package waiting for you. This is a gift for you, an acknowledgement for all the work you have done in your time here on earth. It's something you can use to enhance your skills and the light work that you do. Settle yourself down and open the package. Examine your gift. Give thanks for it. Then receive this gift into your heart space. It is a gift full of courage, protection, clarity, and love. Stay here for a while and feel your inner strength build inside you. Remember to send yourself unconditional love as well. When you are ready, follow your guide back down the path, back to your own safe space. Thank your lion guide for removing your blockages and leading you to your gifts. And know that if you come upon blockages in the future, your lion guide will be there to help you through. Settle back down into your safe space. Take a deep breath in and slowly breathe out. Listen to the breath and rhythms of your physical body. Become aware of your body and the physical space around you. Stretch your body, flex your fingers and toes, and breathe. When you are ready, open your eyes. Trust what you received. Understand that though this seems like just a simple visualization, it is much more than that. You were communicating with one of your spirit guides. Now you just need to learn to trust your intuition. Trust yourself. Believe. Okay. I'm just going to keep plowing ahead because I want y'all to have time for questions at the end. So, a few notes of importance. You always want to ask the animal for permission and honor the answer that you receive. If you're getting a no, it might be it's not a good time for them. It might be they don't have the energy for you right now, or maybe they're not willing to share the information with their current caregiver. Maybe they're just not ready. So I like to do a preliminary communication I do this because I want to know that I'm in alignment with the person I'm working with, because I'm actually working with a third party, right? I'm working with their caregiver. The caregiver is the one who comes to me for help. But if I'm not in resonance with that person, then I'm not going to get a clear communication. So I do a preliminary communication now when I'm doing the long, in-depth communications. Because I also do short ones. I'm actually doing them in the psychic room afterwards. I do short, like 20-minute ones, which is the tip of the iceberg, but we can go a whole lot deeper when I have time on my own, and I do this at home using just a photograph of the animals. And so in those circumstances, and even down there, I'll ask some questions first that the caregiver can verify, so we both know I'm on the right track. Now, it doesn't mean if I get an unclear and accurate information that I'm doing anything wrong. It just means I'm not in resonance with that person. It just means that maybe they're not ready to hear it, or maybe even spirit is protecting me because this person isn't ready to learn these lessons. A lot of times when I'm doing these animal communications, it ends up being a lot for the caregiver. A lot of information that they need to hear and answers that they're seeking. And they're willing to hear it because their beloved animal companion is talking to them. But not everyone's ready to hear that. So that's why I do a preliminary, just to be sure I'm on the right track. Couple of considerations. Be careful what you ask of the animal. Be clear through your images and words. So, final story here. I was volunteering in Ecuador at a little zoo. Side note, I hope you all support zoos. Zoos today are 99% accredited. They are very well looked over. No animals are being taken from the wild anymore. Even in this situation, all of these animals were rescued from bad scenarios, where now they're in much better care. So I'm at the zoo in Ecuador, and what's one of their most magnificent spiritual creatures? The condor. And they have a couple of condors, these just glorious, huge, beautiful beings of birds that are kind of ugly, but also gorgeous. And so it's my job to go in there and clean out the enclosure. And I'm sitting here outside of the enclosure, and I'm talking to one of the birds who's like got his wingspan out like this, just 2 feet from me on the other side of the fence. And he relaxes a bit, and I say, I really would love to have one of your feathers, because I do a lot of ceremonial work, and I know how powerful you are, and I would just love to have one of your feathers. Is that okay? I'm thinking I'm going to go in there later, and because there's feathers all over the place, so they've dropped these huge feathers. I'm just going to go in and pick one up, and I want to get the permission of this bird. And I'm sitting there, and I ask this, and the bird reaches down, plucks a feather out, and puts it in front of him, right where I can reach it and get it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean you to hurt yourself to give me a feather, but thank you so much. So be careful what you ask for, and be very, very clear. But it was a blessing, and I did get to go in and get a nice big feather afterwards. Also, remember that everything is energy. Everything is energy. Your intention is energy, your words, thoughts, everything is energy. That energy and your intention behind it is your most powerful tool. Also, I don't know how to tell you to do this, but you're going to need to learn. You're all empaths. I believe all humans are empaths on some level, because we're energy and we absorb energy. So you want to learn how to turn it on and off. I know psychics and healers who they can't stop the voices in their heads. I don't know how I'm able to do it, but you ever get like a song that plays over and over and over in your head? I think that's my spirit guides trying to tell me something, or they just like a song, and I finally have to say, stop, you guys, I don't want to hear that song anymore. And then the song is done for the day. So, I don't know where I was going with that. Where was I going with that? Oh, turning it on and off. Just do it. Just say to them, I'm tired, I need to sleep, please quit talking to me. I'd love to talk to you tomorrow. You know, always be respectful. What else? Also, don't read too much into things. If something isn't working, you're not resonating, you're not getting accurate information, it's just not a good fit. You don't have to read into it. Don't look at it like I'm doing something wrong, or I'm being punished, or they don't like me, or just, it is what it is. And let it be that. Finally, this takes good practice to get good at. Just like anything. So today is just a start. Keys are unconditional love, listening to your intuition, learning visualization, and believing you can do it. So we have some time. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
The first question is about something I heard when we were going the guided visualization. I bet you know the identity of the bird who goes.
I do not.
Okay. Does anybody?
Is it a whippoorwill?
It does sound like a whippoorwill.
Okay. Because this being who made that sound came and sat on my right shoulder, and then I shape-shifted into her.
Ah.
While being with the lion. So thank you very much.
She sounds like
And
she likes
I have a parrot at home. Like all parrots, she is very smart, very curious, and very destructive.
Uh-huh.
She has, all the negative emotions that we do. She gets mad, or she gets sulky, or she gets, turned inward. How to be respectful and always ask permission when I see by her body language she's going to lash out.
Mm-hmm.
And I need her to do something, and it's something I can't let her not do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like if it's an issue of her safety.
Yeah.
What do you think?
In that case, our spirit guides are also connected. So I like to think of them as working in a coalition. So if it's something around safety and her needing protection, then you're asking permission of the spirit guides. And when you get a yes, in general, then go do what you need to do. And you just explain, be very clear in explaining to her, I'm doing this for your protection, this is really important, I need you to cooperate. So just trust the guides in general.
All right. Yeah, I've never included guides in relationship with her, so that's really interesting.
Yeah, that will
Okay.
help.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Oh, I was going to say, how do you feel about the animal symbolism that, for example, in the guided meditation, you were bringing in the lion or lioness, but this armadillo was like, no, I want to go too. So.
Yeah, that happens a lot in this visualization, actually, and
it's
that
just
is
like,
fine.
and it was sort of like, and I could, I've never actually met a lion, and in the wild or whatnot, but I could feel like, how lions kind of do that, that, like, it's just like, what are you doing? It's like, no, I'm coming. And so like, and I have an animal totem tarot deck that I use, and so like different things or like different cards. Anyway, and all the different the Ted Andrews is sort of like, but again, I don't know how you feel about the whole animal symbolism and to sort of interpret, because I'll get like what you were talking earlier. Sometimes I'll just get critters in my head randomly,
Yeah.
Like, I'll talk to somebody and then like, I remember a couple years ago, I was looking at a friend and a capybara just popped in my head. And it's just like, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can't do it like on command. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, this
So,
is the thing.
I do believe in animal symbolism. I think that that's some of the signs that guides are trying to teach us and share with us. I say also do not rely too heavily on that, you know, unless it's something that's happening a lot. And it's different for everyone. So it could be that you're seeing one of their animal spirits. For instance, if you see a hawk in the sky, that could just be a hawk. If you see a hawk in the sky every single day, that's probably a sign. Or if a hawk like comes up to you in your yard or something really special happens. But if you just like see an animal randomly, I wouldn't put too much into it. But also pay attention because it might be a sign, but it'll become more clear over time.
My rule of thumb is if it happens once, you know, it happened. If it happens twice, oh, that's interesting. If it happens 3 times, okay.
Yeah, that's a good, if that's what works for you, that is a good way to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you describe, I guess, an interchange with an animal? Not just you said, hey, everything's cool, little monkeys, everything's cool. We're gonna love you like your mom. Sorry you lot, whatever. Can you describe an example of the back and forth, like you're working with a client?
Okay, so it might be, I try and have like a conversation, you know, I'm not just gonna start out, hey, you're peeing all over the place, what's going on? I'm gonna start with, how's your day, what's going on, how are you feeling, you know? So it's really is a conversation. It's like a back and forth of, sometimes it's images, some people get more images, some people get more sounds, some people get more words. I get a very clear conversation. Did you have a question?
I did. So touching base on animal symbolism, just reminded me I'm having an issue of squirrels falling out of a tree.
Oh.
So, what's the symbolism with that? And they're
That
like,
sounds like it's a multiple time happening.
it has happened right before I came here. It happened, and so I thought, okay.
So it happened just once.
Yes, it's the second time.
Okay, so more than once.
And I've had a bird fall out, so there
So
was.
that's pretty significant.
And then a frog showed up in my house that was covered in lint. So I'm like trying to sending. So I sit there and send unconditional love to them and healing to the best ability.
Yeah.
But I'm not understanding the squirrels falling out of trees and they're getting stunned, but then they're not in my yard the next.
They're getting stunned.
They're like, yeah, one had internal damage.
Okay.
And so it did eventually leave my yard into another yard to pass. The other one,
So with this, you're getting into some psychic work here.
Oh, is
and
that
I
what's
can go
happening?
into this a little bit. So I would say, think about yourself. Have you recently had something happen where you feel like you've fallen hard,
sure, sometimes, yeah.
but it could be something significant, or maybe it's a pattern.
Pattern. That's how I feel. There's a pattern. I'm not understanding the message. Does that make sense?
So maybe the message isn't there yet. Maybe it's just showing you have a pattern that needs to be dealt with. Of falling hard. Are you fall in love easy, or I'm just, I don't know.
Here's another interesting thing when I check in metaphysically with it. Their spirits are there. So the first time was a little boy, and so I don't know if it's a crossing over type of.
Mhm.
I would get it.
Yeah, this is deep. This is deep. You might need a session. So, as a reminder, you guys, I'm visionsandreflections.com, and I do Zoom sessions with people all over the world. Feel free to. I've also wanted to offer you guys $10 off a session since you're in this class, if anyone's interested. But yeah, that's deep. That's going deep.
Okay. I have one more though. I have a cat that has trauma. Oh, never mind, it's deep again.
Okay.
How do you relax the animal that I didn't raise this animal, it just chose me. She has tons of trauma and hates everybody that comes, the energy that comes to my house. So how do I prepare her for visitors?
Okay, there can be a lot of things going on there. She may need an energy clearing.
Okay.
She may need a good talking to. She may need her atmosphere to be tweaked so it's really comfortable and soothing. Yeah. So a lot there can be done.
Just what's your?
Again, a session could help with that. Visionsandreflections.com.
Got it.
Anyone else? We got about 5 more minutes before I have to go do a session. Anyone at all? Yes.
Oh, I was, you know how the train with the thought and then leaves the station. How do you feel about, like, I've actually had I have 3 cats and there's been some struggle, but at one point I was so desperate I hired an animal communicator to like try to like, y'all, you need it, and I've gotten, I want to like, that whole unconditional love. I love everybody equally. Please stop causing chaos.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you were talking about earlier, like, oh, it's because it's mom. I don't want to talk to mom. So like, fine, mom goes to therapy. You all can go to therapy. It's a group of you kind of thing. And I don't know how you like. Do you do that or like it's?
You mean when I do sessions? Yeah, I can talk to them and work with them and kind of get to the root of what is going on. What's the?
The reason I
How to fix it.
the reason I bring this up is one behaviorist medium basically called one of my cats a narcissist.
Oh, well, that's possible. That's possible.
And it's possible, right? But because but he's all anyway. It's one of the like I don't. Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
Sometimes they just need a little more work, like it can't be done in one session, or it needs an energy clearing, or these animals can be possessed, okay? I have cleared possessions from animals
That's what
that
he
were
means,
like
maybe.
attacking their people, and
Or the cat, like they were. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
it
talk.
happens. So just like us, we collect energy as we go through life. Sometimes they do too, and sometimes we just need a good clearing to get that out. And then we need to set better boundaries. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you so much. So you know where to find me, and also check out the Care and Healing Arts if you're in the area. Maybe come to a ceremony, and I'll be around. Thank you.